Part 4, Full Court Press Basketball Debate, March 12th, 2015. This is the final part. Chris Guyette here with Yvonne Juno. Let's talk a little bit about awards, because we're coming up on that time of the season. Of course, let's start with the MVP race. Right now, and of course we have a month and a half of the season left, so all of this is liable to change. A lot happens in a month and a half, especially with individual awards. Who's your leader right now and why in the MVP race?
Well, it's got to be Westbrook. And the main reason is not because I like him the best, and because of his accomplishments.
The stats prove it.
The stats prove it. I mean, over the last 2 months, he has earned this.
And without the way you judge an MVP is that how much of a difference he's making on the floor. How much different is the team with him on the floor as opposed to without him? Without Westbrook this year,
there would be nothing.
Right.
Plus, let's don't forget that he is playing with a very big handicap without Kevin Durant. Mm-hmm. He has earned all of these accolades and all of this recognition without Durant on the floor.
Yep.
So I would say my number one pick is Russell Westbrook.
I agree.
Whether I like him, whether I don't like him, whether I like his playing style, I don't like his playing style, it doesn't matter. The man has earned it.
Yeah, you can't argue stats.
I mean, you just can't. Number 2, I would imagine, in my mind, would be Tony Parker.
Really?
Yeah. I'm not picking Curry. Curry's only good at one thing.
Curry's not my number 2 either. My number 2 would have to be Anthony Davis.
Oh, well, now, yeah.
My number 2 would have to be Anthony Davis, followed by James Harden, followed by LeBron James. Those would be my 4 MVP candidates. Those would be my 4.
Curry's got to be in there somewhere.
He's 5th. He's 5th, but it usually comes down to 4 guys. Okay. Those are my 4 in order. I just don't think you can duplicate what Russell Westbrook's doing right now.
No.
No.
And the only reason I'm not putting Anthony second is because he had to be out for a while. Mm-hmm. I know it was through no fault of his own.
Yeah.
I understand that. But you gotta remember.
But he put people on notice with that 43-point performance.
But you gotta remember that even though Tony Parker went into a little slump for a little while, he pulled himself up by his bootstraps.
He's playing the best basketball in the league right now.
He pulled himself up by his bootstraps and said, "This is bullshit. I can do this, and I'm going to show him." So he's my number 2, and I would say Anthony's number 3.
Defensive Player of the Year.
You're going to have to help me out.
Who you got and why? Well, a couple of names that immediately come to mind. One should be Anthony Davis.
Yes.
Leads the league in blocks, top 15 in rebounding. Another name that should come to mind should probably be Marc Gasol. He won it last year. He's having another good defensive season.
You don't think Pau fits in there too?
Pau Gasol could come to mind, but my pick is DeAndre Jordan. 15 rebounds a game.
I don't like him.
I don't particularly like him either. 15 rebounds per game.
He's your number 1. Are you kidding?
Without Blake Griffin, he's doing this. 15 boards a game. Just over 2 blocks a game. I don't. It's either him or Anthony Davis. One of those 2 guys. But AD leads the league in blocks. Jordan leads the league in rebounding. Take your pick.
Yeah.
Take your pick. Those are 1 and 2. I mean, they've got to be. They've got to be. I don't care who you are. They've got to be 1 and 2 in some kind of order. Right now, I'm going to say Jordan. Now, that could change within the next week. You never know. Yeah. You never know. But right now...
Zach Randolph is not in the running?
Oh, no. I wouldn't say so. I wouldn't say so. It'd have to be Jordan or Anthony Davis. One of those 2 guys. The body of work is just tremendous. It's tremendous.
Okay.
Coach of the Year. Who's your pick and why?
Wow, well, the first one that comes to my mind is Doc. But I know that he's probably not the number one pick because he's been doing this for so damn long. Okay? I would have to say the guy who's doing it for the first year.
Steve Kerr?
Yeah.
In Golden State?
Yeah. That's who I would have to say.
I can't disagree with that, but I'm going to say Mike Budenholzer in Atlanta.
Because of the way the team is performing.
I mean, just consistently. Has been all season, consistently performing. I mean, that's got a lot to do with coaching. It's got a lot to do with coaching. It's a toss-up between Budenholzer and Kerr. Any way you go, it's a toss-up. I mean, you can't go wrong with either of those picks. You really can't. You really cannot go wrong
You're not
with
going to
either.
put Pop in that mix?
I'm not.
Come on.
Now, wait a minute. If the Spurs finish with 55 some odd wins,
Yeah.
then yes, I'll put him in.
Okay,
Right
so
now,
you're telling me these are your picks right now.
right now, yes. But I started by saying this could
The-
change in a month and a
The
half.
Spurs get to be the number one.
They're not going to be.
Okay, the Spurs get to be in the playoffs.
They are. They're in the playoffs right now. All they can go is up.
Then why would you not say Pop?
Because they're not as dominant as they usually are. They haven't been as dominant for the entire season.
Or consistent.
Right.
Okay.
Now, they're on a 6-game win streak. Like I said, there's plenty of games to go.
Okay.
This could change. Now, here's the big ones. The Eastern Conference playoff race.
I hate when you do this to me.
Okay? Here's what we're looking at right now. Atlanta is a given number one.
I wish you would have told me that.
Okay.
I would have pulled my other sheet out.
Atlanta has a 10-game lead between first and second in the East. Okay? Right now, Cleveland is your 2 seed.
Okay.
Okay? Chicago is your 3 seed. Toronto's your 4. Washington's your 5. Milwaukee is your 6th. Those are pretty much going to be the top 6. Maybe not in that order, but those 6 teams are going to comprise the top 6. Okay?
Atlanta, Cleveland,
Chicago, Toronto,
okay.
Washington, and Milwaukee are pretty much going to be the 6 seeds. Okay? That leaves 7 and 8. Right now, those are occupied,
Who was
respectively,
after Washington?
Milwaukee.
Okay.
Right now, the 7 and 8 seeds are comprised of, respectively, Indiana and Miami. Okay? In that order. But between Indiana, who is number 7, and Brooklyn, who is 8, 9, 10, 11, there is a 4-game difference between 7 and 11. And those teams are Indiana, Miami, Charlotte, Boston, and Brooklyn. You've got 5 teams within 4 games of each other vying for 2 spots. Wow.
Who again?
7 and 8 are Indiana and Miami.
All right.
But under that, you've got Charlotte,
Okay.
Boston, and Brooklyn.
Okay.
All within 4 games of each other, from Indiana to Brooklyn.
And 2 spots left.
2 spots that are currently occupied by Indiana and Miami. Which 2 teams make it, and why?
Well, why is easy. Obviously, because they're going to win the most games and play the best. Wow, that's tough.
It's very tough.
That's really tough. Let me ask you a question before I try to answer this. How hard are the schedules? Who's got the hardest schedules coming up before the end of the season?
Ooh.
Right off the top of your head, do you know if Miami has got the biggest games ahead of them are the biggest games behind
Well,
them?
I can check real quick. There's an easy way to do it.
Because we should have done this off the air before.
Let's see. If you look at
By the way, are
Indiana,
you going to make us a grid for the finals
oh, of course,
like you've done every year?
of course.
The bracket like this that comes down?
Okay, Indiana.
Never
don't-
mind, I'm
they
going to
don't- they
go
don't-
with my gut.
None of the team. Okay, the easiest way to do this is to look at the respective divisions. Okay, who's got the toughest division out of all of these? Well, you look at Indiana, and in their division, well, you've got Chicago, you've got Cleveland, and you've got Milwaukee. 3 playoff teams, 3 in the top 6 in that one division right there. Okay, gonna be tough. Okay, for Indiana. You look at who else we got? Miami.
Miami.
You got Atlanta. And you got Washington. And you got Charlotte, who's
Ouch.
right on their tail. Okay?
Yeah.
Gonna be tough, especially without Bosch. You look at Charlotte, same division as Miami, possibly without Al Jefferson. Okay? You look at Boston, pretty easy division. I mean, Toronto obviously is leading that division. Then you've got Boston, Brooklyn, Philadelphia, and the Knicks. So there's your Boston and Brooklyn right there. The question is, can they win enough games to close the gap?
No.
So which 2 teams do you
No.
have in 7 and 8?
Indiana.
I gotta be honest, I think everything stays status quo.
Indiana and Miami.
I think Charlotte had a great chance, but I don't know how serious Al Jefferson's injury is.
Yeah.
If it's not serious, then I'll put Charlotte in 8th. But if it's any seriousness, I can't do it.
Yeah.
I can't do it.
Yeah.
Now,
Oh no.
the Western Conference playoff race. You've got Golden State, Memphis, Portland, Houston.
Whoa. Golden State's number 1. What are you doing and why?
Clear my throat.
Golden State. Memphis is 2nd. Portland is 3rd.
Houston.
Houston.
Then the Clippers.
All right.
Then San Antonio,
All right.
Dallas, New Orleans. Those are your
San Antonio. Dallas.
and New Orleans. Those are your top 8 seeds right now. Those are the teams that are currently in the playoffs.
Okay.
Right behind New Orleans, there are really only 2 teams that are still in contention for that 8th seed. There's 3 teams. New Orleans, right behind them is Oklahoma City, and right behind them is Phoenix. Okay? But the West is closer than a lot of people think. Okay, you got Golden State at 51 and 12. Memphis is 6.5 games behind Golden State for second. Okay? But behind Memphis, Portland and Houston are actually tied right now. Okay? So they're 2 games behind Memphis, tied with each other. The Clippers are only 1.5 games behind them. Then San Antonio is only 1 game behind the Clippers. And Dallas is a half game behind San Antonio. So between 1 and 7, you've got 11.5 games.
Wow.
And if you go 1 to 8, you've got 16 games. Which from 1 to 8 is not a very big game span. Okay? But the question here is 8th. New Orleans, Oklahoma City, or Phoenix? Who you got?
I don't see San Antonio staying in that position.
San Antonio's going to move up.
Okay? New Orleans?
You got New Orleans in 8th
OKC.
and Phoenix are your 3 vying for 8th right now.
We go with my head or my heart.
Well, I'm going to do something. I'm going to do something here. Hang on. For New Orleans, your upcoming games, okay? We've got Denver at home. Winnable game, okay? We've got Milwaukee at home. Winnable game. We beat Milwaukee on the road. We can do it at home, okay? On the road in Phoenix. Big, big game, but winnable without Dragic and without Thomas. This is not the same Phoenix team. We keep talking about it. Do you consider that a win or a loss? Personally, I consider that a win.
I do too.
Then we're on the road in Golden State. Sorry. Okay? And then we're on the road at the Clippers. Sorry. So that's 3 out of the next 5. Okay? When you look at...
We only have 5 games left to go.
No. Those are the next 5
Oh.
that are upcoming. When you look at... Let me see if I can find them. The Oklahoma City Thunder. Because this is what you've got to do. Okay? Come on. They have at home Minnesota. That's a win. Okay? Then on Sunday, they're at home against Chicago.
I could go either way.
Oh, yes, it could. But if I'm not mistaken, Chicago is the team that stopped Russell Westbrook's triple-double streak and won.
And will Butler
There's
and...
a possibility. So I'm going to go ahead and consider that a win for Chicago.
Okay.
Okay? Then on Monday, in Dallas, big game. And OKC does not play well in Dallas historically. Will Durant be back? I don't know. If he is, I could consider it a win. But without him, I just don't know that they're going to be able to combat a team like Dallas that has so many different scoring options. Okay? Then on Wednesday, they're at home against Boston. I like that as a win. And I'm going to say that Kevin Durant comes back next Friday night at home against Atlanta.
No.
I don't see that either.
Mm-mm.
So that's 2 and 3 for Oklahoma City. If that stays status quo, we'll be up by 1.5 after these next 5. Which is why I like New Orleans as the 8th seed in the Western Conference playoffs.
We got to win 3 out of the 5, though. We got to win 3 out of the 5.
I like it. And that pretty much takes care of your Pelicans' outlook too.
Yeah.
I mean that's your next 5 games, winnable. And a quick standings update. We just did it. Okay, but just to keep you guys informed, if the playoffs started today, here's what the matchups would be. Since you have it in front of you too. In the East, the 1 seed Atlanta would play the 8 seed Miami. The 2 seed Cleveland would play the 7 seed Indiana. The 3 seed Chicago would play the 6 seed Milwaukee. And the 4 seed Toronto would play the 5 seed Washington. In the West, The 1 seed Golden State would play the 8 seed New Orleans. I just get excited saying that. The 2 seed Memphis would play the 7 seed Dallas. The 3 seed Portland would play the 6 seed San Antonio. Hello. And the 4 seed Houston would play the 5 seed Clippers. And now for our Week 20 picks. We made them for tonight and tomorrow. Let's talk about a big game tonight. Cleveland at San Antonio. Big, big game. Playoffs written all over it. Who you got and why?
What are we doing?
Cleveland and San Antonio tonight.
San Antonio.
Is there a reason for that?
Because they're San Antonio. Sorry.
LeBron doesn't play well historically in San Antonio.
Right. They're home. They're San Antonio.
San Antonio's on a 6-game win streak.
Well,
They've got
yeah.
it going.
Yeah.
Tony Parker's playing unstoppable right
I know.
now. I like it to be close. I really do. I don't think it's going to be a blowout by any stretch, but I think San Antonio is going to come out with this win. I'm so excited to see it. I can't wait. I can't wait till the playoffs start.
What about the rest of the games tonight?
Well, I mean,
Our only difference is Milwaukee and Indiana.
I got Milwaukee. She has Indiana. That's going to be a close game. Memphis and Washington. Now we know it's not going to be a good game because Conley, Zach Randolph, Tony Allen, Marc
Right.
Gasol all resting tonight. Cleveland, San Antonio, Houston, Utah. Utah has been surprising some people. They could surprise some people tonight, but I've got Houston and then New York
Yeah.
and the Lakers. Well, anything else on your mind?
What's the update on Kobe?
On Kobe? Well, I mean, he's I wouldn't say he's practicing, but he's shooting jump shots. He's doing drills.
There any way that you think that he will be back?
This season, no.
Not for the playoffs.
No. The Lakers don't have a shot at making the playoffs.
Oh, that's true.
No. Mm-mm.
Okay.
But he'll be back next season, and he'll
Probably his last season.
probably, but
Did you just hemorrhage?
a little bit. Yeah. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us. That concludes this edition of Full Court Press Basketball Debate. For Yvonne Juno, this is Chris Guyette signing off. Thanks, guys. We'll see y'all next week.